All right, everyone. So we have finished introducing ourselves to the theories that we will come back to throughout the semester. And now we're going to switch gears and talk about methods for studying development. So let's just get into it. First, let's talk about the goals of developmental research. So all research has to start with a goal, right? Arguably anything we do starts with the goal, any decision we make. But in terms of research, we want to kind of think, is our goal purely scientific? Is it practical? Or is there an overlap? So let's talk about these three developmental research goals. So first, basic research. So the goal of this type of research is to advance scientific knowledge of human development. For example, we could ask, like our research question could be, do basic emotions develop universally, or do they emerge differently based on culture? This would be an example of a basic research question, because the goal is just to advance scientific knowledge, engaging your curiosity about something. Of course, the results from this could be used to solve practical problems, but the core goal of this research is simply to obtain knowledge. Next, we have applied research. So the goal here would be to answer practical questions related to improving children's lives and experiences, like solving specific problems. So one example could be assessing the effectiveness of different violence prevention programs in schools, right? So there's obviously real world implications there. The results can advance scientific knowledge, but the core goal is to solve specific problems. Lastly, we have action research. The goal here is to provide data that can be used in social policy decisions. So you can think of it as the cousin of applied research. There's definitely similarities. They have real world implications in their main goal. But in this case, it's specifically the audience is legislators and government officials, as opposed to maybe scientists and developmental practitioners. So example would be a research study on toy safety standards or requirements for foster care or school readiness programs. So it's rooted in moving forward social policy decisions. So those are the three developmental research goals, the three primary ones that we'll talk about. And what about developmental research criteria? So what criteria has to be in place for scientific research to be judged as sound or valid? So these are things that we always want to consider when we engage in any type of research and try to aim for the ideals that we're striving for. One being objectivity. So this is the idea that data should be collected and analyzed without bias. So remaining objective and attempting to control any preconceptions of researchers that might be present. Of course, this is pretty much impossible to achieve because every person, researchers included, they have beliefs that are going to influence how they interpret things even, right? So probably not entirely possible, 100% possible to achieve objectivity, but it's important. It's an important ideal to strive for in research, right? So that's one thing, one criteria. Next is reliability. So this is the idea that data should be consistent and reliable. We should get the same results each time we're collecting data under these same sets of conditions. So descriptions of observers' results should be in agreement with each other. That's reliability. That's our next criterion that we aim for in research. Third, replicability. Don't get these two confused, even though they kind of sound very similar, but replicability is just how the word sounds, right? Replicability, can this be replicated? So if others replicated the same procedures, they should ideally reach the same or similar results. That's what we're aiming for here. And fourth, validity. So the data you collect is reflecting what is actually intended to be measured. For example, if you're trying to measure IQ in a study, that's what your research question is based on, and you're doing so by taking people's height, measuring their height, probably not going to be valid research, right? So we have to make sure that we are collecting, what the data we're collecting reflects what's actually intended to be measured. A study might meet all other criteria, these first three, but might not have validity. And this makes it really of no value to the scientific community without validity. So these are the 4 criteria that are aimed for in research. So we'll actually stop here and continue in another video, so it doesn't get too long. But yeah, we're going to head into actual methods of data collection and research designs next. So that's where we're headed. Thanks for joining, and I will see you there.